Hello, everyone. My name is Peyton Northrup, and the topic that I chose to talk about with you all today is remarriage in later life. I want to talk briefly about why this topic is important, give some statistics about remarriage in later life, and discuss a few studies that have been done on remarriage and cohabitation in later life, as well as a study on relationships and life satisfaction. The definition of remarriage is exactly what it sounds like: getting married after the resolution of a previous marriage. The trauma of losing a partner through either death or divorce doesn't always deter people from starting new relationships, some of which lead to marriage or remarriage. While the likelihood of remarriage has dropped across age groups, the statistics for remarriage are still relatively high. 67% of previously married older adults between the ages of 55 and 64 get remarried. This percentage drops slightly for adults 65 and older, but 50% of that population still gets remarried. Remarriage is important for companionship in older adulthood. It can provide support systems in later life and help with overall psychological well-being. Companionship in life is important, but later life relationships aren't confined to the boundaries of marriage. There is flexibility in relationships in older adulthood, and people can cohabitate or remain in unmarried partnerships. A study by Dr. Susan Brown and Dr. Matthew Wright shows that marriage in the United States is at a historic low. These statistics are reflected in relationships in older adulthood. They found that in the last 25 years, the percentage of married men 50 years and older has declined from 78% in 1990 to 67.3% in 2015. For women, this statistic is relatively stagnant. The percentage of married women in 1990 was at 52.6%. This percentage changed slightly to 52.7% in 2015. This chart came from the study that I previously discussed. It depicts how many older adults have turned away from remarriage to the recently more favored option of cohabitation. As you can see from this chart, the rates of cohabitation significantly increased over the course of 16 years. While it isn't depicted in the chart, the statistics from the study show that the rates of remarriage have had the opposite effect. In another study, researcher Heather Fuller Iglesias examined the relationship between psychological well-being of older adults and their satisfaction within relationships. All of the participants were between 60 to 100 years old and consisted of 292 women and 123 men. Participants were asked to think about the people who are important to you right now or who provide personal support to you, and they could list up to 20 people. The study measured the individual's satisfaction within their relationships by asking them to rate how satisfied they were with 4 types of partners, including close and extended family members, friends, and neighbors. Feelings of relationship satisfaction were rated on a 5-point Likert scale, a 1 meaning very satisfied and a 5 meaning very dissatisfied. They also measured some additional factors, but the 2 factors most applicable to this topic were relationship and life satisfaction. The results of this study found that older adults that rely on close family members for support reported better life satisfaction. In later life relationships, it's important to support one another in order to improve feelings of relationship satisfaction. This study can be applied to marital or other relationships. This is a picture of my family on my mother's side on the day that my grandma and step-grandpa got married. My grandparents had both been married previously before marrying each other in 1988. Both my grandma and grandpa had gone through difficult divorces before they met, and both had children from their previous marriages. My grandparents' relationship provided them with companionship as they grew older and faced new life experiences. Even though remarriage is becoming less common, most of us know someone that is remarried to a life partner that they rely on for support, companionship, a sense of family, and more. While doing research for this presentation, I found this podcast that I thought may be a helpful resource for people that are remarried. In the Remarried Life podcast, the host interviews experts on divorce and remarriage and others that have been through these life events. He provides helpful tips and advice on how to navigate through these experiences. I found it interesting that this resource was out there, and I think it's useful in helping couples in their new phase of life.